Welcome students. In this video, we'll study a 10th class English poem, A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. Dear students, I hope you have subscribed my channel. If not, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you always be updated with my upcoming important videos. Before we start the poem, let's discuss a few important facts about the poet. George Leslie Norris. He was a Welsh poet and a short story writer, and he taught at academic institutions in Britain and the United States. Norris is considered one of the most important Welsh writers of the post-war period, and his literary publications have won many prizes. Finding Gold, The Loudwinder, Sliding, A Tiger in the Zoo, The Girl from Cardigan are some popular publications. Leslie died on April 6, 2006 in Provo, USA. Dear students, now let's talk about introduction to the chapter, A Tiger in the Zoo. This is a thought-provoking poem by Norris differentiating the life of a caged tiger with an independent tiger. The poet in the poem is talking about two different tigers. One tiger is living in its natural habitat, that is forest, and he is talking about one more tiger, that is a tiger in the zoo. The poem describes agony and helplessness of a tiger that lives in the zoo. In fact, with the help of the tiger in the poem, the poet wants us to realize the pain of all the animals imprisoned in zoo just for entertainment and fun. Dear students, now let's recite the poem, A Tiger in the Zoo. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage, on beds of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plum deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Students, now let's start the stanza-wise explanation to the poem. Here we start with the first stanza. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage, on beds of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Let's have a look into the important words here. Stalks means to follow someone, and vivid here means bright colored. It's signifying the brightly shining body of the tiger. Beds means paws of the tiger, and rage means anger, because the tiger inside the cage is full of anger. Dear students, in the given lines, the poet talks about the physical beauty of the tiger. He says that the tiger can take only a few steps because the cage is small and it's not easy to move in it. The tiger moves inside the small cage with his soft paws, but the tiger is in anger. He is in angry mood. Have a look into the second stanza. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plum deer pass. Here the important word you must know, lurking means to be hidden, as to wait for a prey, because the tiger keeps on waiting, hiding itself in the bushes or grass and waiting for a prey. So lurking means here that situation or position, you can say, where the tiger hiding itself is waiting for its prey. In the second stanza, the poet is highlighting the hunting skills of a tiger. It shows that how a tiger sitting or hiding quietly near a water place waits for its prey and kills it. In fact, these lines are expressing the agony of the caged tiger. Rather than chasing the small cage with his soft velvet-like paws, he would have been hunting his prey somewhere in the forest near a water place. A water place is a perfect hunting place for a tiger because animals come to drink water and a tiger kills them hiding quietly nearby that place. Let's talk about third stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws terrorizing the village. Here, important words we must know. Snarling means that warning sound of the tiger. When a tiger makes its sound, terrifying sound, frightening sound. And baring means uncovered. Fangs means sharp teeth. You must have seen tigers in a picture. You must have seen tigers on like Discovery Channel when a tiger makes a sound. Now how it reveals its teeth. So that is called baring fangs, uncovering teeth. Here in the third stanza, the poet here describes the threatening and terrifying appearance of the tiger and its frightening voice. The poet says that if the tiger would have been free, he would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. He would terrorize people with his sharp teeth and sharp-toothed claws, and this would create fear among the people living in the village. But the situation is totally different. Nobody is being frightened by the tiger because the tiger is inside the cage. He's actually imprisoned in a zoo. Now in the fourth stanza, but he's locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Here important word concrete is a very familiar word to everybody. Structure made of bricks, cement and water. As we make our homes, RCC buildings, etc. Same way that cage is built for the tiger. In the stanza, the poet is talking about helplessness of the tiger. The tiger is confined in a strong cell which is made of strong material. So his ferociousness is also behind the bars. His anger, his strength, everything is of no use. He just stalks in the cage. He keeps on moving around the cage. He never tries to frighten the visitor. He can't attack them. Actually, the tiger must have realized that his power is of no use. Let's talk about last stanza of the poem. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Here, patrolling means moving around. You must have seen guards during the night time patrolling, taking rounds vigilantly, very carefully. So in this last stanza, again, the poet shows the agony and helplessness of the imprisoned tiger. The tiger hears the voice of patrolling cars or guards taking rounds during their night duty. He can hear the voice of moving cars during the night time. But the tiger have only option to stare at the shining stars with his brilliantly glittering eyes in the night time. Students, this way, we can say the poet is describing or differentiating between the tiger in the cage and the tiger in its natural habitat. So if we talk about essence of the poetry, in short, the poem describes human cruelty to animals. We put animals in the zoo or in a cage. Why? Just for entertainment or to have fun or maybe for earning money. Animals also have a right to live their life independently, freely in their natural habitat. They are not born to stay in a zoo or in a cage. So, an important moral issue here being highlighted by the poet is human cruelty and ill treatment of animals by human beings. So we should love animals. We must not harm animals. They are not born for entertainment. We should not put them inside the zoo. Please don't hunt them just to satisfy your greed or to show your false materialistic hobbies. Just to have a hobby of hunting, people are hunting them and killing animals. So please, here there's a strong message in the poem that we should not hunt and we should not kill animals. We not cage animals. Now, dear students, let's talk about important poetical devices used in the poem. First of all, rhyme scheme of the poem A, B, C, B. As you can see into the stanzas of given poetry, cage is rhyming with rage, and grass and pass. Now, here the first poetical device we can talk about is alliteration. Alliteration means repeating sounds of consonants. For example, plums pass behind bars, repeating sound of P and repeating sounds of B. And another poetical device used here is assonance. Assonance means a repetition of two or more words within the same vowel sounds, but starting with different consonants. As you can see, in his vivid stripes, here sound of word I is repeating. Another one poetical device here is enjambment. Enjambment means continuation from one line to another line without any punctuation mark. As you can see here, he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage. There is no punctuation mark at the end of first line, stripes. Another one literary device used here is consonants, repeating sounds of consonants. Use of S sounds in he stalks, in his stripes. All these examples you can find out in the poetry. Another important poetical device used here is oxymoron. What is oxymoron? Use of adjective opposite in meanings. Like the poet is talking about, he is moving in his quiet rage. Because see the meaning of the word rage. Rage means anger. When you are full of anger. So when you are in angry mood, you cannot be quiet. So that's why it is called use of oxymoron. Another one, imagery. Poet tries to create an image about the tiger, like he stalks in his vivid stripes, few steps in his cage, lurking in shadow. So using such words which is creating an image of moving and fear, you can say frightening tiger in the cage. And another one poetical device here is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia means using words which denote sounds, like snarling. Snarling is a word which denotes sound, means that sound made by tiger. Thus, dear students, I hope you have understood the poem. Please watch it once again carefully for a better understanding and write down its detailed summary using the important points we discussed in the video. And I hope you have subscribed my YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you will be always updated with my upcoming important videos. Thanks and good luck.